Hello, good afternoon to all of you. I hope all of you are doing well. So in today's class, we are going to take few more examples of a C program and we will be trying to understand in much more detail the working of a C++ program. So let us try to understand program 2, right? So program 2 is a program that will be trying to add two numbers and find average of two numbers, right? So here also what we have done is we have included the header file iostream.h because what we will be doing is we'll be using the objects belonging to this particular header file in order to perform operations. So now just see here again the return type of main function is void. So it will be main function will be returning nothing to the operating system kernel. Okay, just remember again I'm repeating it. So main will return nothing to the operating system kernel. Okay, so it can either return integer, it can either return void. So here I'm returning void, so it implies that it returns nothing. So here what I've done is I've taken up four variables: num1, num2, sum, and average. And the type of num1 num2 size sum and average is float. So here it basically means that whenever you declare a set of variables, what happens is that memory allocation for the variables will be done. So since here it is of type float, so 4 bytes will be allocated to each and every variable that has been declared. So memory allocation always starts from right and it moves towards left. So you need to remember it starts from right and move towards left. Okay, right? So now next statement what we have is we have cin. Okay, so cin is again an object of the iostream.h. So here again cin is the object that will try to read value from the standard input stream. So here now just see we have used the bitwise operator, that is right shift operator. Okay, right? So here, right, the right shift operator is being overloaded in order to perform the task of extraction. Okay, so what it will do, it will read value from the input stream and place it in the memory allocation done for num1. Okay, so this is the significance of this particular statement. So it will read the value from the input stream, place the value in cin, and subsequently that value will be placed in num1. So here, in contrast to C programming, here what we have is we have a major difference in this, the way how the input statements are being placed. Okay, so here we do not specify the data format, right, or format specification at call as. So in case of C program, we used to write scanf %f then ampersand num1. So that is avoided in case of C++. So here the format will be automatically taken up when the value will be read, okay, from the standard input stream. So here we need not specify the format. So here num1 is of type float. So floating point value from the standard input stream will be placed into num1. Likewise, what we have done is we have placed another input statement, that is cin num2. So it will read data from the standard input stream and place it in num2. Now what we have done is we have found the sum of num1 and num2 and placed it in another variable that is called as sum. So sum is again a floating point value. So let us consider num1 and num2 is 1 and 2. So the value of sum will be 3. Likewise, we have variable average that has been initialized with sum divided by 2, right? Okay, so 3 divided by 2 will be 1.5. So here again what I'm doing is I'm placing the value of sum and average into the standard output stream, that will be 3 and 1.5. Okay, so if we execute this particular program, you will find that the value of sum will be 3 and average will be 1.5, provided the value of num1 and num2 is 1 and 2. Now you have to execute each and every program that is there discussed in the theory class. So I have created a list of programs that you need to execute. So all of you have to execute the program, create a separate record for it, and then that particular record will be inspected during examination. So it is very important for you to execute all the programs that are labeled with the program number. So till the chapters that I'll be discussing, I'll be providing each chapter with the list of programs. So you need to execute each of the programs and you need to see what will be the output that will be generated by the different programs. Okay, so that is your assignment. So we'll discuss that for during the lab classes. So here, this is a very simple program. What it does, it finds the sum of the numbers and the average of two numbers, right? So now the next important fact and the important aspect of C++ programming is that cascading of input-output operators, right? So what we can do is we can So we have used insertion operator. This is the insertion operator that we have repeated in the last two statements for printing results. So now just see here what we have done is we have used the insertion operator for printing results, right? Okay, so what we could have done was we could have cascaded this into a single statement, where in the single statement we could have put the sum and the average. So here what we can do is we can cascade multiple operators into the single statement and simplify the program. So the statement C out, you see we have the we have the insertion operator. Then again a string that is to be placed again, right? So what we have is we have a insertion operation and then sum, right? Okay. So first what it will do, it will send this particular sum to the object C out. Okay. Then the value of sum will be sent to C out, and finally the new line will be sent to C out. Just see the sequence of execution. So first this particular string, that is sum equals to, will be sent to C out, right? Because at a time only one value can be sent to C out, right? Okay, so once it prints sum equals to into the output stream, then the next value sum will be sent to C out, right? Okay, once the sum is printed into the value of sum is printed into the standard output stream, then it send the value of new line to C out, right? Okay, then it will print a new line. That means here C out is an object that is versatile enough to hold data values of different types. Just see, C out is capable of holding a string, it's capable of holding a floating point value, it's capable of holding a single character. So that is the capability of C out, right? Okay, so it's capable of working with different formats of data, right? Likewise, what you can have is you can have cin being used for reading multiple values. Okay, so cin being used for reading multiple values. So here to see we have two different extraction operators being used. Okay, we have two different extraction operators being used for reading two different values. So the values are assigned from left to right. Now that is, if we so say for an example, if we key into two values, say 10 and 20, then 10 will be assigned to number 1 first and 20 will be assigned to number 2, right? Okay, so that is the way how. So if you place in 10 and 20 into the input stream, so what it will do, it will place 10 into number 1 and 20 into number, so it will be done in left to right fashion. So what you can do is you can cascade IO operators, right, in order to simplify the C++ statement. So you can cascade multiple insertion operator and you can cascade multiple extraction operator, right? Okay, you can calculate, you can cascade multiple insertion operator and you can cascade multiple extraction operator. So this is one of the features of C++ programming. Now let us move on to the next program, that is program 3, right? Okay, now program 3 is a program that tries to focus on take a very simple example of a class, okay, right, and the way how the program is to be written. So what this particular program does, it will basically read the attributes of a person and it will display the attributes of a person, right? Again, it's a very simple program. So here now what we have again is we have hash include stdiostream.h, because we will be using the objects belonging to iostream.h header file in order to perform the input and the output operation. So here now what we have is we have a class named as person. So this is the way how you declare a class. You see, we have a class by the name person, and inside that particular class what we have is we have the attributes being defined. So the attributes are name and age. So name is a character array of size 30 and age is an integer value. Okay, right? So whenever you create an object of class person, each of the object will have name and age, right? Okay, now here what we have done is we have specified the access specifier, that is public. So as we have said, Public basically means you can access it from outside the class, right? Okay. Private basically means you can access it from outside the you can access it from the derived class and the class only, and the private basically means you can access it only from the given class. So here what I've done is I've placed an access specifier public. That means what we can do is we can access these functions from outside the class, right? So that will come to it whenever we will be discussing the access specifiers. But for now, just listen to me carefully. Here what we have done is we have declared a class by the name person, which has a set of attributes, and which has a set of behaviors. The behaviors are being placed as public. Now, why it has been placed as public is a very important question, because by default, listen to me carefully, by default all the members of the class will be private in nature. Okay, all the members in the class will be private in nature. So here name and age will be private, whereas get data and display data will be public, right? So now what we can do is we can use get data and display data in order to read values into name and age and extract values from name and age, right? Now to see, that is the way how the implementation is done. So the data members are kept as private, and the member functions are kept as public, right? Because as we have discussed in the previous class, the member function will be acting as an interface between the C++ program and the data of the object, right? Okay, so now here what we have done is we have defined the get data function of the class person. Okay, so here what we can do is we can define the function inside the class, or we can define the function outside the class. So here what I've done is I've defined the function outside the class. So whenever you define the function outside the class, first what you need to do is you need to write the return type of the function. So here the return type of the function is void. So void person. So here this basically means that this get data belongs to the class person. Okay, so here this is the syntax. So return type, the class name, the scope resolution operator, that basically means to, so this particular operator is used in order to determine to which class a particular function belongs to, right? Okay, so here get data is the function, and the return the parameter list it takes in is void. That means it does not take in any parameter. So this basically means get data is a function which is being defined that belongs to class person, and that returns nothing, right? Okay, so since here get data is being defined as a function that returns nothing and takes nothing, so likewise here it returns nothing and it takes nothing, right? Okay, now cout, again what I'm doing is I'm using cout. So I'll write enter name, so it will send enter name into the output stream. So cin I'm using to read the name, right? Okay, likewise cout enter age, I'm using cout to read the age, cin to read the age, right? So likewise I'm defining the function display, right? So again display belongs to class person, return type of display is void and takes in no parameter, so it is defined in this particular manner. So void person, scope resolution operator, display, and void. Okay, so this, it means that display is a function that belongs to class person and it returns nothing and it takes nothing, right? So likewise we have cout name of a particular person, that is name, right? Okay, and age, right? Okay, so here just see there's a small typo problem, so it's just name. Okay, right? So here, so what it will do, it will print name and it will print the age, right? So now just see in the main function what I've done is I have declared an object of type person. So P is the object of type person. So here P is the object of type person. That basically means with P there will be a name and age associated. So once it is declared as a variable of type person, so P will have its own name and age. So that's why I've written P.getData. So whenever I write P.getData, so what it will do, it will invoke the function getData that belongs to the object P. So what does getData do? GetData basically reads data that's name and age. So whenever I write p.getData, it basically implies that it will get data for the object P. right? Okay, so it will get name for P, it will get age for P, right? So likewise P dot display data, so what it will do, it will display the data for P, that is it will display the name and display the age. So this is a very simple C program that has a class in it that tries to define a function outside the class, that tries to take place the data member in the private path and private section, and the member function in the public section, right? Okay, and as I've said, by default all the members of the class will be private in nature, right? So since the functions will be acting as an interface between the program and the objects data, so the member functions are placed into the public section, right? Okay, so this is a very simple C++ program that tries to read in data values for a given object P. So now this is a very simple object P. What we can have is we can have array of objects as well, right? Okay. So now here, just see, there's a very simple explanation. The program defines person as a new data type of a type class. The class person includes two basic data type items and two functions to operate on the data. So these functions are called as member functions, and the attributes are called as data members. So the main program uses person to declare a variable of its type. So here P is the variable of type person, right? Okay, and as pointed out earlier, class variables are known as objects. So here P is an object of type person. So you see, this is the way how what you do is you write a C++ program. So in this particular class, what we have learned is we have learned a very simple program that find average and the sum and average of two numbers. We have learned how to cascade IO operators, and then we have learned how to build up a C++ program including a class, right? Okay, we have learned how to place the data members and how to place the member functions. We have learned how to define the member functions, and use the member functions in order to perform a specific operation. Okay, so in the next class we'll be learning about more programs. So in this particular sequence of lectures, we have learned the typical structure of a C program, right? Okay, and we have learned few examples. We have learned about cascading. So we'll be using this extensively in order to write programs in the subsequent chapters. So thank you very much. Have a very good day.